Okay, I'm back. Welcome to Danganronpa. Last time we were investigating a mysterious death. Someone new who came out of nowhere. We don't know who that is or anything, but it's gonna be good. You know, we're gonna continue with our we're just gonna continue with the class trial. Before that, let me review what my truth bullets are because I don't remember. A victim's identity is unknown. Dead before the blast. Stabbed a single time with a knife. Also been struck in the head with an object about as thick as a metal pipe. Body was covered with other wounds, but these were at least several days old. Has burnt the upper half of the body. On recognition, remained on fire and had to be remain dry. Dog on the back of the right hand. Okay. Our program. Oh yeah. But I've got him wet. Right. Makoto wakes to the morning announcement. Makoto and Oi arrive in the dining hall. 7:30 to 9, Makoto meets the others. Toko is told to find the pickaxe. She discovers the body. It's used to just stab it before the end. It's also... Oh, right. So, I don't know. Side was wet and filthy with mud and grime. The other side was completely clean and dry. Yushiero claims that there were, without a doubt, 5... That there was no corpse in the garden just after nighttime. So it can be assumed the murder must have taken place sometime after that. Okay. But the blood was still wet. It was noted, however, ground nearby. Apparently the killing game began on... Assumed that Makoto Ikusuba was the 16th. Onokuma also revealed that the reason Koyoko wears gloves hides something she doesn't want anyone to see. Right. Lieutenant total. Huh. Alright. Let's go. Oh, Byakuya and Makoto showed up together. Where the heck have you been? You just disappeared without a word. You were investigating, of course. How could you not figure that out by now? Well, Makaro's ranked high enough for you guys just to go off together, just the two of you?
Huh?
What, are you jealous?
Hey.
Or are you making up some kind of creepy fantasy for yourself?
What?
Stop talking, embrace yourselves. He'll be here any second. Any second. He could show up at any time. When I imagined what was about to happen, I immediately tensed up and prepared me. But I stood there for 5 full minutes waiting for something weird to happen. Then 5 minutes became 10.
Why?
What's going on here? Why hasn't Monokuma shown up yet?
Could it be?
Maybe he died again? What should we do? Should we keep waiting here? Or what?
What?
Did I scare you?
Come on.
I demand an explanation. Why did you waste my time and make me wait like that? What? I made you wait? You got it all backwards. You're the ones making me wait. Huh?
In other words,
I'm waiting for everyone to arrive. You can't start till everyone's here now, can we? What are you talking about? Everyone is here. We've all been waiting for you. Sorry, but you're wrong. But I've been waiting 10 minutes now, so it's okay if I punish the one making us all wait, right? If we all agree it's a violation, I'll arrange a punishment right now. If it's me you're waiting for, I'm here. When we heard that voice, we all spun around to look. I'm here, and no rules have been broken. Koyoko. Koyoko, you're still alive. No, that's a ghost. Stop talking. You want to fight? Do it at the class trial. You need to save some of the fun later, right? But is it okay that there's no particular penalty for being
is that right?
made it here just fine? What stupid regulation did I violate? Am I wrong? You're so selfish, so spoiled. You're right, there's no penalty officially, but I'll bet you you'll be sorry. No, I'll make sure you're sorry later. Anyway, hustle your butts into the elevator. You're just one step ahead of me. When Monokuma was gone, we all rushed around Koyoko. So you really didn't die?
Indeed.
Of course I did. Thank God. I'm so glad you're okay. Perhaps, but that's not necessarily a good thing for us. He's right. Now we gotta deal with a ghost. Told you. Stop talking.
Let's go.
Come on. Let's just go. Whatever we need to discuss, we can do it during the trial. Without ever looking directly at Koyoko, Bayoko-ya stepped into the elevator. Master, wait for me. Good call. Who knows what might happen to us if we take too long?
But
I'll be happy when the trial is all over. After another, everyone piled into the elevator. But I couldn't help myself. I had to talk to Koyoko before the trial started. Listen, before we get started, I have to ask you. Where have you been this whole time? You used that key of yours to go somewhere, didn't you? So,
correct.
I went to investigate the second floor of the dorms. The second floor?
That's right.
There aren't any monitors or cameras there. So I was able to avoid Monokuma completely. Of course, I also missed his announcement because of that.
Whew.
I had no idea a body had been discovered. And when did you find out?
So,
Just now. I finished my research and came back down just in time to hear the class trial announcement. I took some time to go over the crime scene first. Can't go to a trial completely unformed, can I? So that's why you were...
however,
Sorry I kept you all waiting, but you were on the second floor of the dorms. And that's what the key you found goes to?
wrong.
Actually, to be precise, not quite.
In other words,
I use Monokuma's secret tool, which can open any lock in this school. What? Koyoko's account.
Just a second!
Hey, what are you two doing? Hurry up, before we get in trouble with Monokuma.
Makoto.
You can go over all the details after we get through the trial, okay? Right now, I just want to focus on surviving our
It
crew,
would seem...
because this is probably the single most crucial moment so far for her. A strange way to put it. The class trial is important for everyone, right? So why would she say it's crucial
Goodbye.
or moment for her? Well, if that's all. Seemingly unconcerned, Koyoko made her way to the elevator. I'm just overthinking, she said, right? Okay, let's keep going, I guess. Being the last one left, I stepped into the elevator. And the door slid shut. This time the clunking was loud enough to hurt my ears. The dread began to consume me once again. I can't imagine ever getting used to the mental pressure that comes with preparing for an execution. In that dusky darkness, nobody said a word. We just stood there silent and still. After an immeasurable period of time, the doors opened without warning. Dazzling light penetrated every depth of my eye, but it wasn't the illuminating light of hope. It was the blinding light of despair.
I can't wait! I can't wait!
Ah, I've been waiting for this. I feel like it's been forever since we got together like this. The time for pointless jokes and jabs has
Thrills! Chills! Kills!
Let's get on with the show. So the curtain opened for the 5th time. A deadly judgment, a deadly deception, a deadly betrayal, a deadly riddle, a deadly defense, a deadly class trial. Yeah, I want to. There we go. Let's see. Open the handbook. What was that last one? Set skills. What is that? Increase the time limit for each phase, effective during class trial. Oh, that's cool. Studies your aim. Okay. Finish preparation. Rise.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay, well, I'll leave the rest up to you.
Well then, let's discuss the specifics of the victim. First, we need to clarify who exactly the unidentified victim is.
It's Kyoko. There's no other explanation.
No.
But Kyoko's standing right there.
No! That's a ghost!
But she has legs and stuff.
Well, that's just because she's like the latest evolution in ghost technology.
There's a limit to how much ridiculousness I can tolerate.
Okay. So I just have to prove that the corpse isn't Kyoko, right? Then let's compare Kyoko's traits to the traits of the dead body.
Her traits?
One important trait Kyoko has that proves the body doesn't belong to her is, well, the Kyoko's face is already blown up. Kyoko's gloves.
I got it! I'm talking about her gloves. They'll give us some insight into the mystery. I'm sure of it.
In that case, I think it would be helpful if someone explained why she actually wears those gloves.
And would you happen to know the answer?
In fact, Monokuma told me. Apparently you have scars on your hands you don't want anyone to see.
Oh! You know, now that I think about it, the corpse wasn't wearing any gloves, right?
They probably just got burnt up in the explosion. I'm not convinced. The ghost is just trying to fool us all.
There's no way that corpse was Kyoko. But if I can prove why, we're gonna be stuck here. Case won't move forward, so I don't have any choice but to. Alright, let's get this going. Make your orange. Tattoo on the right hand, exploded.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Cause that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Cause that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a...
Okay, then prove
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Oh,
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
no.
Shoot!
Oh, it's a
That
contradiction.
Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Let me think.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Cause that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
Let me think about this for a minute.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
I don't know where to do this.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
Okay, hold on.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Just ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, because
That corpse is
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That
There's gotta be
Kyoko
a
there is just a
contradiction.
ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
Oh, wait a minute.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
Nope.
Shoot! That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Wait, what does the,
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
so this must,
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
no. Still not getting it.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, because that corpse is... This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the
there
explosion.
it was.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
But she wasn't wearing
That
gloves.
Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Right.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves.
Well, yeah, because
That corpse is
absolute.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it.
Let's
Prove
see
she's
if
not
I
a
can
ghost.
try to do this.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got
Right.
burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
What's wrong with that?
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Loaded body analysis. Let's see.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
Because that corpse is. This entire discussion is
Is it
idiotic.
fake nails?
That Kyoko there is
Impossible.
Or
okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the
Then she was wearing.
Well, yeah, because that corpse is. This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing.
Well,
We're gonna
yeah, because
try
that
this
corpse is.
again.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just
Impossible.
okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing.
Well, yeah,
Right.
because that corpse is. This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just
Impossible.
okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
oh,
Shoot! That Kyoko there
Is
is
it-
just a ghost.
Impossible.
tattoo on the right side. Yeah.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
No.
Shoot!
Gotta be a
That
contradiction.
Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a
Impossible.
okay, then prove
The
it.
dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Oh, wait a
She was
minute.
wearing.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
Must have been wearing gloves.
That Kyoko there. Okay, then prove
The
it.
dead body wa-
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
Nope.
Shoot!
There's gotta be something.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion!
Then she was wearing...
Well, yeah! She must have been... Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko!
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko... Okay, then prove
The dead body was...
They got burnt up in the explosion!
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah! She must have been wearing gloves! Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko!
This entire discussion is idiotic.
I'm gonna try this because I don't
That
know.
Kyoko there is just a...
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it! Prove she's not a ghost!
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion!
Then she was wearing gloves.
Well, yeah! She must have been wearing gloves because that corpse is absolute...
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost! Okay, then prove it! Prove she's not a ghost!
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
Nope.
Shoot!
That
Alright.
Kyoko there is just a ghost!
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it! Prove she's not a ghost!
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion!
Then she was wearing...
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
is
because
it
that corpse is...
two?
This entire discussion is idiotic.
Two on
That
the right.
Kyoko there is just a ghost!
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it! Prove she's not...
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion!
Then she was wearing...
Well, yeah, because that corpse is... This entire discussion is idiotic.
Oh boy.
That Kyoko there is just...
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it! Prove she's not a ghost!
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion!
Then
Okay.
she was wearing...
Well,
Hold
yeah,
on.
because that corpse is... This entire
This one
discussion
is
is
hard.
idiotic.
That
She had a
Kyoko...
type two
Okay,
on there.
then prove it! Prove she's not a...
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
No.
Shoot!
Oh, I failed. Okay. Well, it has to be the fake nails thing.
Is this... I refuse to give up yet!
Alright.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost!
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it! Prove she's not a ghost!
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
No, huh?
Shoot!
That Kyoko there is just a ghost!
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it! Prove she's not a ghost!
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion!
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko!
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost!
Impossible.
Okay,
Hold on.
hey, then prove it! Prove she's not a ghost!
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion!
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko!
This entire discussion is idiotic.
No.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost!
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it! Prove she's not a ghost!
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion!
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Shoot! That Kyoko there is just a ghost!
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it! Prove she's not a ghost!
The dead body wasn't.
They got burnt up!
Then she was wearing gloves.
Well,
Yeah, she must have been wearing gloves, because that corpse is absolutely
Kyoko. This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost!
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it! Prove she's not a ghost!
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got
Burnt up in the
Then she was wearing.
Well, yeah, because that corpse is...
is absolute.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko.
Okay, then prove
The
it.
dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves, because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
No?
Shoot! That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves, because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
Oh, maybe it's...
Kyoko,
Impossible.
Okay,
then prove it.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the
explosion!
Then she was
Wasn't
wearing.
wearing
Well,
gloves.
yeah, because that corpse
So
is... This entire
probably
discussion is idiotic.
That's what it's gonna be.
That Kyoko there...
Impossible.
Okay,
Then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
No.
Shoot!
It's a
That
contradiction.
Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves, because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
Prove it. How
That
can you...
Kyoko there is just a...
Impossible.
okay,
Then prove it. Prove
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
they got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
No, that's wrong.
There we go. Final.
No. There's no way the corpse was wearing gloves. Whoever it was, they were wearing fake nails, remember? I imagine trying to wear gloves over nails like that would have been a pretty big pain. Besides, Kyoko wears gloves to hide her hands, right? It'd be pretty weird for someone who's self-conscious about their hands to wear fake nails, don't you think?
Jeez, man, you don't know women, huh? They're complicated like that.
If anyone doesn't know women, it's you.
Well, Kyoko, any thoughts?
These gloves were custom made to the size of my hands to make sure they don't interfere with my daily life. If I wore fake nails, The gloves wouldn't fit properly.
Then that's that. The dead body doesn't belong to Kyoko.
Which should have been obvious since she's standing right here.
Okay, so then, who's the real victim? First, we need to figure that out.
That's the first thing I said. You're the one who's been dragging us around in circles.
Alright. Yeah. Alright, let's listen again.
If Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition. And there wasn't any description in the Monokuma file. Well, if we can't identify the body...
Then there's nothing else we can do, right? If Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition. And there wasn't any description in the Monokuma file. Well, if we can't identify the body...
No, it's wrong!
Yeah, there we go.
There was one clue left behind that we can use to identify the body.
What? For real?
If you're lying, he'll die a cruel and unusual death.
Cruel and unusual death? This I gotta see.
She's just being stupid. Ignore them, Makoto. Tell us what you're talking about.
The key to figuring out who it was is the tattoo on the back of her hand.
Oh, yeah. The design's pretty strange, huh? Is this a dog?
Her master must have made her get it. To be like, you're my bitch.
Seriously? They really did something that humiliating?
No, that's not it. The identity of the victim is hidden within that tattoo.
Oh, really?
Compare the tattoo to... Let's... When was this? No. Ah.
I got it!
There you go.
The Fenrir Mercenary Corps. That's the name of the military group Mukuro Ikusaba belonged to.
Okay, so...
To show that they're a member of the team, each soldier that joins the squad would get a tattoo representing Fenrir somewhere on their body.
Fenrir?
The image that represents Fenrir is that of a dog. Or a wolf.
Now I understand! The representation of Fenrir is a wolf.
Fenrir, the Wolf of Ragnarok. It's from Norse mythology. A huge, world-ending wolf beast. He's the child of the trickster god Loki, and a female giant.
Man, after all this time, we finally got a glimpse of the literary all-star.
A wolf tattoo. Then that means...
Exactly. The body we found had a tattoo of a wolf. Which means that person must have once belonged to Fenrir. So it must have been Mukuro.
What?
Hold on. she the one that was behind this whole thing?
You sound surprised, but you're absolutely right. Yes, indeed. The trial this time is to solve the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba.
Are you saying the mastermind is dead? Now we have to have a cool-ass trial?
No. It means we were wrong in thinking that Mukuro was the mastermind at all.
But I mean, being the ultimate despair seems like a pretty mastermindy title to me.
Maybe we shouldn't have been thinking of her as the ultimate despair in the first place. After all, looking at her profile, I didn't see anything that would fit such a description. All it said was that she was the ultimate soldier. If I remember correctly, that other information came from Kyoko. That's what you told Makoto, right?
So that means Kyoko got it wrong?
Who was she? Who was Mukuro Ikusaba? She's been gone this whole time, and when she finally turns up, she gets killed.
Usually when there's a scene where an important character dies, it has a lot more detail.
So you're saying she wasn't an important character? Which would mean she was the same as us, just another participant.
Then who's the real mastermind?
It must have been the Hope's Peak Academy headmaster after all.
No, the headmaster has nothing to do with it.
But how can we trust that? We already know your information about Mukuro was wrong.
My information was not wrong.
Okay. We're in the middle of a trial right now. Figuring out who killed Mukuro is first and foremost. Please limit all future prattle, chatter, and chit-chat as much as possible.
Fine. Uncovering the identity of the mastermind will have to wait. But remember this. No matter what happens, we will find out who you really are. I stake my family name on it.
I have officially decided to completely ignore all such attempts at provocation. Now then, just so nobody's confused, let me state this one more time for the record. The reason we're having a class trial is because a murder among the students has taken place. Hammer that point straight into your big ol' brains!
What you're saying is that both the victim and the culprit are part of the student body?
Then, one of us killed Mukuro?
Wait, no! There's a chance that there's some mystery 17th person who's been hiding all along!
Nope! There are only 16 students in total that have been taking part in these events.
Seriously? Then, one of us killed Mukuro?
Who did it? Who's the killer this time?
Get a hold of yourself. We've already narrowed down the list of possible suspects.
Huh?
I'm sure you realize who I'm talking about, right, Makoto? Who the evidence points to?
I got it! You've narrowed it down to Kyoko and me, right?
Why do you say that?
Allow me to explain. Just after nighttime last night, I went to the garden, so I can confirm that at that point, there was no dead body there. So, the murder must have taken place after I left the garden. However, Hiro, Toko, Hina, and I were in the gym the entire time.
The gym?
That's right. The four of us were there trying to dismantle Monokuma. The whole time, we were very careful not to go anywhere alone. We even went to the bathroom in pairs. All of which is to say, the four of us all have alibis. The only ones without alibis
Are me and Makoto. That's why you're able to narrow down the list of suspects.
Exactly so.
Can't let this stand. Somehow I have to...
I have something I'd like to say regarding the whole alibi thing.
Are you thinking of raising an objection?
Well, before that, I just want to try and get a better idea of what time the murder took place. Doing that might reveal some kind of clue.
Whatever you want. Somebody go ahead and help him out.
Me and Byakuya can both confirm that the body wasn't in the garden at... Well, it was after nighttime for sure. I'd say it must have been around 10 o'clock. So the murder must have happened after 10 p.m.
Then I guess we can say the time frame for the murder was between then and when we found the body? Oh, but what time did we find the body?
The one who saw the body first was Toko, right? And she went to go get the pickaxe.
9 o'clock.
I got it! The body must have been discovered at 9 a.m., since that's when Toko went to get the pickaxe.
Left the game, so it was just before 9 o'clock, so it's probably 9 on the dot now. Okay, go get the pickaxe.
He's right. It had to be around then.
So we can be totally sure the murder happened sometime between 10 at night and 9 in the morning.
For me, I was already asleep before nighttime hit, so I don't have an alibi after 10 o'clock. But I'm sure I met up with everyone else before 9 this morning.
We ran into each other in the dining hall, right? That was around... Oh yeah! Right around 7:30. I remember checking right before I went in, so I'm totally sure about it.
Which means from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., you don't have an alibi.
Okay, then it looks like the game has begun. If I can't provide anything, then I just have to prove the murder didn't happen during... I don't have an alibi. To do that, I have to make it clear when the body ended up in the garden. I don't know.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections,
Now would be the time.
Right.
We've established a time. It took place somewhere between...
and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
Oh, come on.
Shoot!
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to...
Let me look at what my thing is. Fire.
7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
There's something that happened in the garden after... In which case...
We've established a time frame for the murder.
Right.
It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think.
So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be... We've established a time.
It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night.
No, it's wrong! Actually, the murder couldn't have happened anywhere near 10 o'clock. It had to have taken place way later.
And what makes you say that?
Because of the sprinklers in the garden. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right? So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Huh.
Oh, hold on. I remember this part perfectly. The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
I'm wrong?
Why?
How? Are you saying only the mouth down south was wet? How dare you spew such indecent words!
No, I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean? By denying the sprinkler, are you trying to deny my entire existence?
Man, you're totally wacko.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
Right. It's because of the, Oh, okay, I see.
I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no!
I'll do it again. This is way harder. Yeah.
I refuse to give up yet.
Okay, let's try that again. No.
I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? How can you say it wasn't the sprinkler?
This should prove it. Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers. The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac!
I'm so sick of her.
Let's just move on. The reason only the top half was wet was because
Because of the fire.
while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Oh,
Then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
Wow.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
In which case, the only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Wow. No, I don't believe it. Kyoko murdered someone?
I'd just like to say one thing. If you vote for me and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen.
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
A trap?
We're this far into the game and now you decide to blame me? Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
Huh? She did?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything. So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko? But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial, something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
So, that was her motive?
If she had a motive and no alibi, well then, I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient. The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
Because you see, there is a way the body could have avoided getting wet.
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something to keep it from getting wet.
It was the tarp.
I got it! You're talking about the tarp, aren't you?
You catch on quick. You're right. All you'd have to do is cover the body with the tarp, and that'd take care of the water. In fact, that's exactly what the killer did. The dirt pattern on the tarp can attest to that. Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, kept perfectly clean. This proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body from getting soaked.
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just gave us.
Why would Kyoko say that? Why would she want to make me look like the killer? No, I can't think about that right now. Tarp. It was used the way Kyoko said. Tarp must have touched the body, right? But the body...
Wait. Something's not right.
And what might that be?
Can't worry about Kyoko's motivation. If I don't do something, everyone's gonna think I'm the killer. I have to refute what Kyoko Make it hurt. Let's... Okay.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Right. Ayakuya even warned us.
By covering the body with the tarp,
Oh, okay.
the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because
Yeah.
the sprinkler
Okay,
got
I
that
got
side
it.
wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water.
Shoot!
Oh. I went.
By covering
I
the body
went
with the
to,
killer
uh,
prevents.
So the reason
Too
that
fast.
because the spring, but the underside of it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Oh no.
By covering the body, the killer
Hold on.
prevents.
So the reason that
I'll do
because
it.
the spring, but
I'll
the
do it.
underside, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Oh, I missed it again.
By covering the body, the killer prevented it from getting.
So the reason that
Because the sprinkler got that side wet.
but the underside of it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Oh.
By covering the body, the killer prevents.
So the reason that because the spring,
do
but
it,
the
I'll
underside,
do it.
it was totally
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
There you go.
nothing's wrong.
I got it this time.
Actually, one side being clean is pretty strange if you think about it. Because the blood wasn't dry before the body got blown up, right? Byakuya said it himself. Not to touch it, or you might get some on you. If you put a tarp on a body in that state, it absolutely would have gotten blood on it.
Well, maybe the culprit washed it, so nobody would know they'd used it.
If they had, they would have washed both sides. Just washing the one side wouldn't hide anything.
Oh, yeah, true.
More than that, what if the very blood we saw on the body was meant as a kind of camouflage?
Huh? Blood was camera.
What if, after the killer used the tarp to avoid the sprinklers, they then covered the body in blood that didn't belong to the victim?
You mean someone else's blood? Where would they get something like that?
I know!
Oh, the
They could
bandit.
have grabbed some of the blood packs from the nurse's office. That's what Hifumi did, right? When he pretended to be dead?
No, that's not what happened this time. The killer got the blood from right there in the garden.
Right. Which mean it was the, Oh, wait a minute. They got blood from right there. Which mean that... Oh! The
I
chicken
got it.
poop.
Could it have been chicken blood?
What? Chicken blood?
When I checked the chicken coop before the murder, there were 5 chickens. But after the murder, there were only 4.
Okay.
So, you're saying someone killed a chicken and then covered the body with its blood? Man, that's messed up.
Wow. That's interesting.
Killing a living thing just to do something like that is awful. They should have at least eaten it.
I wonder if the killer had to get the blood from the scene so they wouldn't be spotted walking around. Anyway, there's no denying that a chicken went missing, which provides a basis for my theory.
Perhaps, But even so, there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. You said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water and then covered the body in blood, right? But if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body. But that's not what we saw. Only the victim's clothing had blood on it.
So
The ground was completely clean.
I have to agree, that certainly is strange. Maybe they didn't apply the blood at the scene. Maybe they covered the coat in blood beforehand.
They covered it beforehand?
When you discovered the body, was it wearing the coat like you normally would?
I think so.
Probably.
Wait, no. The head was through the neck hole, but the arms weren't in the sleeves.
Oh, wow.
Then that settles it.
Sorry, I'm having a tough time keeping up. What settles what?
Here's what happened. The murder took place before the sprinklers went off. But the body didn't get wet because the killer covered it with the tarp. Then, later, at the same time the killer was gathering up the tarp, they pulled the coat over the body, the coat they'd already covered in blood. This series of cover-ups was meant to disguise the actual time the murder occurred.
Huh.
They wanted us to think the murder happened sometime after the sprinklers had gone off, at 7:30.
If that's actually what took place, it certainly becomes possible that the murder happened earlier.
But to pull all that off, wouldn't they have had to go back to the garden after the sprinklers turned off?
That actually wouldn't have been all that difficult.
Huh?
They already had the coat ready, so they just had to grab the tarp and pull the coat over the body. They'd be done in no time.
Maybe, but still.
Hina, after you met up with Makoto in the dining hall, did you two stay together from that point on?
Oh no, I headed off to the gym and Makoto didn't show up till later.
Then he had plenty of time to spare, wouldn't you say?
That's not...
Don't bother saying it's not possible.
I must admit, Kyoko's reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is inadequate.
And the suspicion falls back on me again. But why? Why is Kyoko trying to entrap me? I don't understand. Disguised dead body had been added to the truth.
Well then, it looks like we're back to square one. Makoto's alibi is no good, so once again, our suspects are him and Kyoko.
For serious, man? Which one of them did it? Hey, why don't we let luck decide? Let's flip a coin. 50-50 odds.
Oh!
See? Pretty good idea, right?
No, not that. I just remembered something super serious.
Well, don't just stand there. Out with it.
Okay.
You know that knife we found all black and burnt?
The one we found stuck in the body before it exploded, right? According to the Monokuma file, the knife went all the way through, from front to back. So, what about it?
I'm pretty sure I'd seen that knife somewhere before.
Uh-oh.
That's what I thought when I first saw it. I just remembered.
Listen, more important. Now that we have the knife, what are we gonna do with it? We can't let Toko keep it, that's for sure. Don't know what she might do. I don't want it anyway. So what to do? Why don't you hang on to it, Makoto? Huh? Me?
It's the knife we gave to Makoto?
You don't seem surprised. You must have noticed earlier.
Yeah.
Then why did you hide that fact?
It's not that I hid it. It's just...
Couldn't be sure of what actually happened last night. Thought maybe I really didn't kill her.
Suspicious! Very suspicious indeed.
Uh-oh.
The knife we found stuck in the body came from Makoto. Now I'm totally convinced he did it. 12,000% convinced.
Considering everything up until now, I should be able to make it clear. I have to prove that I didn't murder anyone. I have to kill her. Alright, let's see what I can do. See this guy's dead body. Exploded.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it!
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question.
Oh.
You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto.
Means when the knife was...
The knife...
Oh, wait a minute. Disguised?
We found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was
Let's see
afraid
what
of
I
that.
can do.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it!
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right?
No, it's wrong! Wait, hold on. The stab wound isn't what killed Mukuro. That should be clear from the description of the cover-up we just heard.
Lies! We never talked about what killed her!
No, don't you remember? The killer covered the dead body with the tarp, and then put the bloody coat on it, right? In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until after they were dead.
Okay, fine. So what?
So, when we discovered the body,
The knife was implanted.
the knife had been thrust through the coat along with the body. Meaning, if she wasn't stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point, obviously the stab wound isn't what killed her.
Maybe you stabbed her twice. Once to kill her and once to cover it up.
No. The exact position of the body was written down. 3-1-C. There you go.
I got it! The Monokuma file clearly states that there was only one stab wound.
Oh yeah, it sure did. I totally forgot about that.
Then the knife...
Was just another piece of camouflage set up by the true killer. They probably stabbed her to draw attention away from what actually killed her. Exploding the body afterward was probably meant to do the same thing. The explosion severely damaged the body, making it impossible to know what really killed her. It was all the killer's attempt to destroy all evidence of their crime.
So they wanted us to notice the stab wound and then detonated the body afterward. They meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death, then destroy any evidence proving otherwise.
Oh, hey, I have a question. It kinda goes back to the beginning, but what's the deal with that explosion anyway? Why'd the body just blow up all of a sudden like that?
If you bothered to put that lump of gray matter between your ears to use, you'd know the answer.
Well, if you're so smart, just tell me.
I'll tell you. I bet some unknown quantum particle caused an atomic level spontaneous combustion!
No.
I might be dumb, but even I'm not dumb enough to believe that.
Go ahead, Makoto. Tell her or we won't make any headway on this.
Let's see. There
I
it is.
got it! After the explosion, we found a tiny fragment of something on the ground near the body, right? That fragment reveals the cause of the explosion.
Huh? You know, I feel like I've seen something like it somewhere before.
That's only natural, because of course, we saw the same thing when we dismantled Monokuma. It's part of a bomb.
Oh! Then the explosion was because of the Monokuma bomb!
Anyway, the culprit's motive is becoming more and more obvious by the minute. They wanted the knife wound to look like the fatal injury so that we'd suspect Makoto. And the only one who would benefit from that is the only other possible suspect. You, Kyoko.
Right.
Hold on a second, Byakuya.
What's the problem?
Well, I just feel like we need to think this through. We still don't know what actually killed the victim.
That's true! It's definitely bugging me. What really killed her?
Fine. I have no problem with that. Let us continue the debate. It won't change the facts of the case regardless.
Let's see, what can I do? Monokuma File 5.
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. I guess.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't me because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
Oh, no.
Shoot!
Huh.
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined.
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. I guess.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't me because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Wait a minute, what does Monokuma File 5 say?
4.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't me.
last
And then
one,
there's
probably.
only one other.
Oh yeah. That's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
No.
Then shall we continue? The victim's fatal.
got
The
it
explosion
right.
didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't me. And then there's only one other thing.
Oh yeah. according to the monitor, that's gotta be it! There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
Shoot!
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. Yes.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't me because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh, yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it! There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
No. Shoot! I was wrong about that. Let me see. This is a tough one. Let me try to think again.
Is this really the end for all of us? I refuse to give up yet!
Let me think. Right, the Monokuma file.
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't
wait
me
a
because of the knife, right?
Oh.
And then there's only one other.
Oh, yeah. That's gotta be it! There was evidence that showed she was hit.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well,
Yeah?
she was...
And it wasn't me because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh, yeah. That's gotta be it! There was evidence that showed...
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue that the victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
Shoot!
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
Okay, so it's not that.
Shoot!
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. I guess.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't me because of the knife. And then there's only one other thing.
Oh, yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it! There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined.
There you
No,
go.
that's wrong! Mukuro died because of the blow to the back of the head she suffered.
What about the wounds all over the rest of her body? They didn't have anything to do with it?
The Monokuma file makes it clear that those weren't fresh wounds.
Oh yeah, good point. If they were old, I guess they don't really matter.
Okay, then we're safe in assuming the blow to the back of her head is what killed her.
But then, what was the murder weapon? The Monokuma file says she was hit with a blunt object.
about as thick as a metal pipe.
Oh! I bet it was the pickaxe!
How is that even possible? If you hit someone with that, it'd cave their skull in completely.
Well, maybe they held it the other way and hit her with the handle.
No way! The balance would be all off. You wouldn't be able to swing it with any kind of power. I wouldn't mind testing it on you if you want.
No thanks. I bet you just hit me with the metal end and call it an accident.
I'd love to scoop out that nasty brain of yours, throw it on the ground and spit on it.
I feel the same way! Looks like we're on the same page this time.
Seriously?
We want to figure out what killed her, right? It just so happens we already know.
We already know? I knew we could count on you, Master.
So what was it?
Go ahead and tell them, Makoto. Surely you've deduced the real murder weapon?
Look at the pipe. Let's see. Let's see. Real murder weapon? What? That's a pipe.
I got it!
Is it?
Mukuro was hit in the back of the head with something, and that's what killed her. And that something was the titanium arrow we found in the locker in the dojo.
Oh.
Arrow. That's what the culprit attacked Mukuro with?
Indeed. There's no doubt about it.
Are you sure? That sounds kinda weird.
Kinda does.
Hey! How dare you backtalk, Master! You have no right!
I'm not back-talking anything. I'm just saying what I think.
Don't blame Hina for doubting, because there's one more thing about that weapon. One more secret. Now, what was it? Oh. Okay.
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced. What's the problem?
Well, because in the Monokuma file, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Talking back to Master! You have no right!
Was just...
The titanium arrow.
It was in the
Oh.
dojo.
I have no doubt that was the murder
Are
weapon.
you sure?
You don't sound
Well, because in the Monokuma, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
No, that's wrong!
There you go.
You're right. Just the one arrow would have been too weak. That's why the killer used another weapon.
Another weapon?
Inside the dojo locker, we also found a balled-up wad of duct tape. The killer probably used this duct tape to bind multiple arrows together. Bundling them together using the duct tape would easily create a single weapon as thick as a pipe. And that's exactly what the killer did.
It's similar to Aesop's fable about the bundle of sticks. One stick is weak, but put them together, and they become strong. It's meant to teach cooperation.
Damn, that's harsh.
How is it harsh? Are you even listening?
Anyway, that explains the murder weapon. As for who the culprit is that stashed the weapon in the dojo locker, it was you, Kyoko.
I've never been to the dojo.
Oh no, you absolutely have.
How can you say that with such confidence?
Because we have proof, of course. Don't we, Makoto? What's the matter? Surely you don't intend to protect a murderer. You know what will happen if you do, don't you? If you cover for the culprit, there's only one thing that can lead to. The death of us all, remember?
Of course I remember.
Then show us. Show everyone the evidence that proves Kyoko went to the dojo.
I got it!
There we go.
The one thing that proves Kyoko was in the dojo is right here. The key to the dojo locker.
And how does that prove anything?
Because I found it in your room.
It was in my room?
Don't bother trying to play dumb. That key is just the final piece of the puzzle. Your non-existent alibi, your clear motive, your attempts to frame Makoto for the crime. This all proves that you are the true culprit. You can't explain this away, so just give up.
Hold on a second.
Not this again. You really are dead set on defending her, aren't you?
No, it's not that I want to defend her. It's just, there's one more thing I need to ask her. Kyoko, I want you to tell me something. Last night, you were in my room, weren't you? Why? What were you doing there? That's what I need to know.
I was just protecting you.
What?
She was protecting me. And does that mean she knew I was being attacked? And she came to my rescue. Could that be when... Which would mean that Kyoko, she killed someone for me?
That's enough. The time for idle chatter is over. A verdict is close at hand.
Wait. I'm warning you. Don't make this mistake. I'm not the killer.
I knew you were stubborn, but this is just getting ridiculous.
Really? But you should know better than anyone I didn't do it. Can you tell me I'm wrong?
I should know?
You know better than anyone. What does that mean? Oh boy, here we go again.
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me!
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker, and then left the locker key in my own room, correct? But could I really have done that?
Those words you just...
Exactly, I'm not, but you should understand.
Byakuya,
Master would need...
There's proof that you are... Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker, and then left the locker key in my own room, correct?
No, right.
Shoot!
Those words you just spoke.
Exactly, I'm not, but you should understand.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me!
there's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker, and then left the locker key in my own room, correct? But could I really have done that?
Those words you just spoke.
Exactly, I'm not, but you should understand.
Byakuya,
Master would never...
There's proof that you aren't... Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory. You said I hid the evidence of my crime and then left the locker key in my own room, correct? But could I really have done that?
those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me!
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker, and then left the locker key in my own room, correct? But could I really have done that?
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me!
There's proof that you aren't the culprit.
No, that's wrong. If I'm right, Kyoko wouldn't have been able to get into her room.
Huh? Why not?
Because she had given her room key to Byakuya.
I see. So that's what you meant. And if I had the key to your room...
Then obviously I had no way of getting in. Without my room key, I couldn't have possibly put the locker key in there myself. Am I wrong?
It would appear not.
Then you're finally starting to understand.
No, it's not actually true. There's a clear contradiction of what Kyoko just told us. An obvious lie. This isn't just like to try and save herself. It's a desperate lie. She really feel threatened because she's the killer, or is it something else? Is there some deeper meaning hidden in what Kyoko said earlier? But for me, and I die here, the mystery of the school is the age. This is why I can't let that happen. This is a trap that Mastermind has laid for us. The Mastermind's trap. The Mastermind is trying to trap Kyoko, but what if that's not really true? What can I do? What should I? The Mastermind's trap. A victim was Murayoko. Kyoko killed her? Does Kyoko really know? What am I supposed to do? Kyoko's lie. I'm the only one who knows it's a lie. I'm the only one who can expose it. But who can I trust? What am I supposed to do? Mastermind's trap. You spend all your time trying to avoid danger. You'll never move forward. Know the danger, but if the risk means solving the mystery, we have no choice. Am I wrong? What do I do? To decide right here and now whether or not pursue the lie?
There was a lie hidden within Kyoko's statement just now.
A lie?
Isn't that right, Kyoko?
You said it. The burden of proof is on you. So let's hear it. Where's this lie, then?
Kyoko is definitely lying. It must be because some other deep truth she wants to keep hidden.
I didn't have the key to my room because I'd given it to Byakuya. There's no doubt about that, right?
Wait, what it was? Kyoko used. Oh, okay.
You are correct.
So I couldn't possibly have gotten into my room.
Then...
No, that's wrong. No, Kyoko could have gotten into her room. You said so yourself, didn't you, Kyoko?
Why?
Monokuma's secret tool?
Kyoko stole it from the headmaster's room. It lets you get into any room in the school, which means she could have used it to get into her own room.
Then I guess that's it.
You're giving up just like that? You admit to killing...
No, I'm simply recognizing that I lost.
What are you talking about?
Like I said, this was a trap, and I wasn't able to escape. So I lost. That's all this means.
All this. Huh?
Then, you saying you really didn't... Kyoko, you really aren't the killer?
Okay, time's up!
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry to say, but your time is up! All done!
I guess
all
I did it
finished.
wrong.
The class trial is all over!
But that's ridiculous! Since when is there any...
It's because you were late, so the trial started late and time ran out! So then, it's time for voting time, okay? Everyone, please vote using the lever in front of you! But I guess we already know who the blackened is, don't we?
Uh-oh. So I got it wrong, I guess. Let's see what happens. Good job. You got it right. Brilliantly right. Got it right? Does that mean Kyoko really is the killer? But something strange is... There's something wrong with this whole quest. Kyoko.
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment!
Is everyone...
Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
Oh boy. Kill her. Kill her, then it's like... What? It's a trap. Oh. Guess I can play again. Whatever. If this. After school lesson. Ooh. Oh boy. And then that's how the class trial of Makuroro came. I still had to wonder whether Kyoko was actually in it. Regardless, the truth was lost. Just stop thinking about it. That was the end of and then it would prove to be our last class. Once the case was over, there was never a single murder at Host Peak ever again. We had peace in exchange for the lives of all the others. Wow. Peace, but only inside the school. Peace, but only for us. That was the only hope we had. Hope. Hope. Oh boy. Hope. This is hope?
No! This isn't right!
No.
Makoto, why are you staring off into space? Don't you have a rebuttal for Kyoko's claim?
Claim? Oh, that's right. I have to. I am not. Trying to avoid danger, you'll never move forward. You know the danger. Am I wrong? How about run away? No, running. I'll let it go. I made my decision. I have to believe in Kyoko. There's no way she would kill someone. There has to be some secret here. Something that has to do with the mastermind's trap.
Well, does no one have a rebuttal? Have you decided to accept her assertion as fact? I see. So you still refuse to accept it. I suppose we have to admit that Kyoko didn't put the locker key in her room. That it was someone else.
But who else could it have been?
I mean, Byakuya had a room key, right?
You! What are you trying to imply?
But of course I have an alibi. From nighttime on, I was with you guys the entire time. I couldn't possibly have killed anyone, or put the key in Kyoko's room.
Well, someone had to put the key in there.
There's only one other possibility I can think of. Someone could have had the key on them, then once they arrived at the scene, pretended to find it there.
What? It had to be Makoto, right?
I don't see any other option.
Wait a second. You've got it all wrong. Let's think about it one more time. There's gotta be a hidden side to this case.
Huh? A hidden side?
First of all, there's something off about this entire trial. You all see it, don't you? Mukuro, who we didn't even know existed, suddenly shows up dead. And then we're thrown into a trial. And Kyoko even said, it's a trap the mastermind set for us. So that's why this has to be...
Okay, time's up!
Huh?
Time's up! Class trial's all over! Everyone can stop talking now!
What? Time's up?
What do you mean time's up? There's no time's up. Since when have we...
It's because you were late, so we had to push back the start time. So then, it's time for voting time, okay? Everyone, please vote using the lever in front of you!
Voting time?
Ooh. Ooh, boy. This is gonna be good.
Now, who will be chosen as the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? Hey, hold on! What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
Oh man, who is it gonna be, folks? I don't know. Oh no, it's Makoto? What? You think I'm the killer? Sorry, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. It's all your fault. Everyone, you're wrong. Got it all wrong.
Yes, indeed.
Good job, everybody. Good job.
Yep.
Yeah, they got it. No. I know that's not real. None of this makes any sense. This whole trial doesn't make any sense. It makes perfect sense.
Shing!
It's the same as always. It's just like all the other class trials. I'm gonna end it in
Thrills, chills, kills!
red, heart-pounding, positively thrilling punishment. Wait, why do
I don't expect you to forgive me. I know this is all my fault.
Kyoko?
Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
Ooh. Oh no. The main hero is going to die. Ah. It's gonna be the same result with Kyoko. No. He's going to die. There is no villain. Let's see. Oh boy. There it comes. Wow, that is cool. Huh? Huh? What's this? What's going on? Hey, what's that? Yeah, it had to be
This is...
alter ego. Alter ego? Just some stupid virus from that stupid guy. You must have planted it when he invaded my network. Darn. I don't believe it. Seems you have finally made a miscalculation. No, you miscalculated from the very beginning.
What the heck?
What was that?
In other words,
What I'm saying is you shouldn't have underestimated us. Why are you talking like you already know? I barely felt a thing. It was a pinch. That virus is going around. Got it? And so is Mikado. Maybe I didn't get to smash him flat, but you're never gonna see him again. To waste away in a garbage bin pit in a way that's even better special to me. But it's still not enough. And still not trust. I'm still gonna bring despair to the world. Bring despair to the world. Is he gone? Hey, Kayako, what's the meaning of all this? I swear it's gone.
Calm down.
It's okay, we're not the ones being trapped this time. Huh?
In other words,
Now it's the mastermind stuff that's ensnared.
What did you say?
What are you talking about?
so...
We'll understand soon enough. Very soon indeed. The massive high school towers over all other buildings in this bustling of... It's like the school stands at the center of the entire world. Hope's Peak Academy brings in top students from every field imaginable. Government-funded school of privilege. Say that if you come here and manage to graduate, you'll be set for life. Hundreds of years of tradition sends cream of the crop into the workforce every year. It was built to raise hope in the nation's future, which makes it Hope Peak a pretty fitting name. There are two things you need to attend school. One, you have to already be attending high school. Two, you have to be the very best at what you want to do. No ordinary student could enroll there. The only thing is if you're scouted by the school itself. Standing there at the gate of the ultimate school filled with the ultimate students was me. Huh? What? Where am I? Woke up with my head resting on top of a hard wooden desk. My body felt heavy. Wouldn't it be weird for me to zoink off in the middle of some boring class or whatever, but what was I doing sleeping there just now? It's in any classroom I've ever been in before. What the heck is going on? Finally, I could finally feel my mind and body start to come back together again. And then I was awake. Or was this just another dream? A dream inside a hopeless nightmare. No, this isn't a dream. I could tell because the stench invading my nostrils was too powerful for a dream. What an awful smell. It was in a vast dark cavern. The barest hint of light seeping in. Trash was piled high all across the air. This must be some kind of underground garbage pit. A heck of a situation to find myself in, but that was just the beginning of my problems. Was I going to be stuck in there till I wasted away and died? No, I can't let that happen. Not after my good friend went through to see all too well. Alter ego saved me, and he used up his little last bit of strength. So I can't for myself and for my friend. With that, my pursuit of survival began. First up was to start looking for a way out. What is this? That's a rocket. Pink. Is that an airplane? still not enough reason to give up because I'm still alive. As long as I'm alive, to give up. After making that proud declaration, next thing I decided to do was go to sleep. Sleep was deep and uninterrupted. That was the only way to preserve what little strength I had left. After not being able to eat or drink, I can't be sure, but I think at least a full day had to have passed. I did was sleep and sleep, and it was like I was waiting for some kind of sign to come out of the sky. However, what fell from the sky wasn't a song, not a music. Quran? What the hell? Strange sound pierced my silent isolation, jarring me awake. As I watched, the pile of garbage jostled and turned to ash. Something all down from here, something all apart. What did I do? With a giant piece of stretched my hand toward whatever it was and had tumbled down there.
Just a second.
Giant piece of trash. Rude. Before she even emerged from the pile of garbage, I knew who it was. Ooh, Kyoko.
It smells awful.
Kyoko.
Indeed.
Look like you're doing better than I expected. What
So...
are you doing here? Isn't it obvious? I'm here to help you. Glad to hear that, Kyoko. Got a bit of garbage in here. She gave her head a quick, sharp shake and got rid of the trash and faced
Hey.
me. First, I have something for you. Go ahead and eat it. We can talk once you finish. Thank you. Snatched the bread and water that she was holding up. In seconds, it was in my mouth and making its way towards my stomach. Ooh, that really hit the spot. Now I got all the energy I need to keep going. So you still haven't given up, then? Of course not. After all, the fact that I can keep going forward is about all the good at. Well, that's not such a bad thing to be good at. Kyoko, why did you come to rescue me? Pay a debt or no, to atone. Atone?
You...
During the trial, even though you knew I was lying, didn't say anything, so you knew that I knew.
Indeed.
But even though I knew, I did nothing to help you. I abandoned you. Don't say that. You didn't abandon me. No, that's exactly what I did. I abandoned you in order to save my own life. Trying to save me, and I couldn't bring myself to do it.
However...
But listen, not that I'm trying to make excuses, but there was a reason that I had to survive. Why did you have to
It's
survive?
true.
I'll tell you everything. The reason I had
In other words...
So that I can do what I came to this school to do. What? Made up my mind to come to Hope's Peak Academy for one very important reason. So you...
Indeed.
That's right. At least I did. Once. Recently, I forgot what it was. I forgot what my purpose is. No memory. Amnesia? Then is it really true you lost your memory?
Makoto.
Do you remember, Makoto? Do you remember the first thing that happened to each of us as soon as we arrived at the school? The first thing? Talking about when we fainted, right? I fainted when I woke up. I was trapped.
That's right.
I fainted too, and when I woke up, I noticed a strange feeling of separation within myself.
It would seem...
Thinking back on it now, at that point, my memory was gone. That time, I had forgotten. I couldn't remember why I come to this school, and I couldn't remember what my ultimate ability was. But what would make you forget all that?
Hey.
Strange, isn't it? It's hard to imagine it happened by chance. Seems much too convenient. Are you saying you think you lost your memory because...
Indeed.
I don't think, I'm positive it was the work of the mastermind. They stole my memory. Nope. Why would they want to do that? There's only one reason I can think of. Was it my purpose and my ability? Somehow they would interfere with the mastermind's plan. So the mastermind just stole them from me.
However,
And it could also mean somehow my memory may could be connected to the mystery of the school and the mastermind. That's why I have to get them back. That's why I've been investigating things by myself this whole time. But if what you say is true, why didn't you ask the rest of the questions?
why is that?
I did that, and we all worked as one. The mastermind noticed right away. Plus, there's always the chance mastermind is actually
Correct.
Well, don't make too big a deal of it. It's just a possibility. Since it is a possibility, we can't ignore it, right? It's the one of us. If you believe that, then of course you can trust anyone. In which case, it only makes sense that you would have looked into it.
However,
That being said, there was a limit to what I could do by myself, which is why I asked you to help me. But why me? Because among you, among everyone, least likely to be the mastermind. That was just my intuition, but I see. Your intuition was right there. There's no way in ordinary you could have been the mastermind.
I understand. I should understand everything. My goal isn't to get out of here. It's to stay here.
It's just like the dream I had before. When did that just happen?
listen.
Oh yeah, it's nothing. It is nothing, right?
Hey,
Now I still trust you, It's just, I'm not used to relying on others.
correct.
I never asked for help the right way, so I understand if you're not convinced. That's just her personality.
So...
You mentioned
I-
what everyone should have known to be the ultimate protector. The ultimate
Correct.
protector. And the reason I came to know is because there was someone I had to find
Correct. So...
the headmaster of Hope. Headmaster? Did you want to find the headmaster because he's your father? What?
In other words,
I'm him as a child. So it turns out he became the headmaster of Hope's Peak, or Yoko's State. So Peak's a headmaster, and that explains. An alter ego told us how he thought the headmaster was. I'll find a way. Huh? No matter what it takes, I'll find
no
a way.
matter what?
No matter
So,
what's going on. My memory hadn't come back at that point, but when he said that, I felt strange. It makes perfect sense now, of course, since my whole purpose for coming here was to find him. That makes sense.
However,
Well, listen, Makoto, I want to make this perfectly clear so there's no misunderstanding. Said the headmaster wasn't the mastermind, but I didn't say that to protect him. Only said what I felt based on what I've seen when I snuck into the headmaster's room. Then what did you see in there?
so...
The room had been ransacked. The shelves were a mess. desk drawers dumped on the floor. The only conclusion is that someone who didn't know where anything was happening there. The mastermind, right?
It's true.
That was my assumption, yes. To confirm my suspicion, I decided to investigate the second floor. It's using the key found. But why there? Because I also found this in the headmaster's room. This is some kind of map?
Indeed.
The layout of the entirety of the Hope Creek Academy. Found it in the headmaster's room along with Morocco's profile on the key. A map showed the second floor was the home to a number of rooms meant for faculty use. Some of the staff must have had to stay overnight from time to time. I figured Master would have some kind of private room there. Assumed that if that were true, that room would likely hold more clues.
Correct.
That's when I finally remembered that my purpose was to find the owner of that room. So you went there and to see if the headmaster really did have a private room.
However,
Once I got there, I noticed that the second floor didn't have any...
I
realize whatever's going on in this school is more horrific.
So...
Explain it. You need to see it for yourself, and I'm sure you'll get your chance to.
However... However...
It has to do with...
However...
Just to be perfectly clear, I didn't kill him. I know it wasn't you either. I know you're right, but that just means everyone but you and me had an alibi. So
Anyway...
What I can say for sure is that the mastermind is correct. To begin with, the point of the last trial of murder was to get you killed.
Indeed.
That Kean disappeared, and in retaliation, he wanted to draw me out.
Correct.
Was the point of the last trial. Was? The mastermind knew they couldn't interfere directly. I mean, because of his school right?
That's right.
Exactly. With minimal restrictions, you are free to explore.
In other words...
Is adamant about following the rules, and with that rule in place, they couldn't spin. Since they couldn't kill me themselves, tried to use the class trial to do it. The mastermind couldn't step in. That makes it sound pretty like this mastermind himself is somehow bound by this rule.
Hey.
One other thing I would like to point out about the murder of... What's that? There was a point Makokuru may not have become the victim. Could have been you. Could have become you.
Indeed.
Know what I'm talking about, right? During the night,
I
can hear them. Footsteps of the god of death. What? You hear the god of death. The ability naturally draws me into places.
Anyway...
I was in the dorms and I had a sudden sense of dread. I looked down, saw a bright shadow across the corridor. I gave chase right away. I saw the shadow go.
Correct.
Ran into your room and I saw what's happening. I intervened immediately.
However...
That wasn't the move. I stopped you. That led me. Whatever Master Cylinder was, you ended up dead.
Correct.
And the murder was disguised in the dojo heat up in my room as the work of the Master. So all this would mean that whoever
Indeed.
I'm left confused about things. That's right. It's really bad if it's true. It means the mastermind can kill the ones if they feel like it. Wait, but that doesn't that create another contradiction? The mastermind wanted to use the class trial to try and kill you because they couldn't.
Correct.
Right, that is a contradiction, and it's just not truthful. They needed the class trial to kill him, but seemed ready to kill you and they did as a contradiction. So what does
In
that
other
mean?
words,
That the mastermind is the one who's been
Makoto.
just a little more, and I should be able to figure out the mastermind's identity and the other ultimate despair. No doubt I know the rest of the ultimate despair. I don't think the ultimate despair is just one person.
Indeed.
The ultimate despair seems to implicate whoever caused the
That's right.
biggest, most awful, most tragic thing in humanity, tragedy, that is the ultimate despair.
It would seem...
This difficult is his own despair.
Indeed.
Where the root of all the evil that has forced us to go through this. That is the ultimate despair, and then that is our real enemy. The end. Ooh, I think that's the one. Dream Island Rocket. Nice. Yes, I want to save. The ultimate despair. A group of people across the country one year. Those same people put together this community and all countrymen around the world. The most desperately awful group of people. That is the mastermind's truth. Our enemy has finally been revealed. But right now,
Anyway,
we have to get out of this horrible place. Bring out the rest of the story can come back. Yeah, you're right. Unless it's a rock. Oops. You still have that Monokuma Secretary that you got from
indeed.
It's an absolutely vital ensnaring the master. I would never thought of it. You can open any door in the school.
That's right.
And we should be able to use it door.
It's true. Indeed. Finally, we're free. Time to take a breath, because the real fight had just begun. Ultimate pain, ultimate suffering, ultimate despair, ultimate execution, ultimate death. After leaving the garbage pit, we found ourselves in a tunnel extending straight up like a chimney. There was a metal ladder leading up into the tunnel. Started climbing the ladder, intent on reaching the surface. The ladder was impossibly long. I couldn't even see where it ended. Climbed into the darkness. The passage was so dark and cramped I couldn't even
see my own feet beneath me. Had no idea we're so far down.
Hey.
Don't lose your footing. If you slip, I won't be able to catch you. Yeah, I'll be careful. But now I've said it, I'm getting kind of nervous. Maybe talking will keep my mind off. And so, Koyoko, there's something I wanted to ask you. Said you're the ultimate detective, right? So how long have you been doing detective? How long?
So...
Ever since I can remember. I came from a long line of detectives. Detective work is in my blood. There was a time when being a detective was considered a sacred duty. My family always seen it that way. Then is your family famous?
Wrong.
Quite the opposite, actually. Even among actual detectives, many people haven't heard of us. Well, but how come? It's like your family. Right?
Right.
Because we take pride in it. Pride.
Indeed.
Detective is neither light nor shadow. You represent neither justice nor evil. That is how we can uncover the absolute truth. Stand neutral in all things, and to do that, we have to stand separate from the rest of the society, which is why we made a conscious to consider all our existence. Conscious effort.
It's true.
It's kind of old-fashioned, and I can't say it's entirely rational. It's our family creed, and we do what we must to do to protect it. Because, like I said, it's our source of pride. So that is before I came here, when was looking up info about the school online, saw anything about her. Because she hid herself on purpose to protect the pride of her family.
However...
And yet, I gave up some of their pride. In order to enter Hope's Peak, I had to reveal myself to the school. I did it knowing it was something true Kagaguri detective would never do. The reason you gave up that pride, the reason you connect with your dad, right? There's no shame in that.
What?
Connect. I had absolutely desire to reconnect with my father. Huh? But you'd be reuniting after all those years, right? Would have had so much to talk.
Wrong.
It's nothing I want to talk to my father.
However...
Something I want to say to him, though. What? No matter what it takes, I have to find him face to face. What is it?
So...
Want to sever all ties with him. Severe. The last time I saw him, I was still very young, so I don't remember myself, but apparently he was extremely legend. He was in line to become the next head of the Kuryogi family. Splendid, he had a
However...
He had no interest in detective work. Cut himself off from the family. Not long after the he went to my grandfather, and they had a huge argument. Young as I was, he left me behind. I'm sure there was a reason for that. Sure, your dad wanted to take you with
Right.
him. If that's true, then I need to thank him. Thank him for leaving me, because unlike him, I take pride in the work I do. Take pride in my family name. So every last part of me, he didn't take me with him. If I'd gone with him, never have had the chance to become a detective. It's above Koyoko on the ladder, so I wasn't able to see her. So I couldn't tell. I couldn't see how she said that, what she might have been feeling. The tell was that compared to her usual self, more talkative and more emotional. I don't blame him, you know. He had his own life. That's what anyone in my position might say, right?
However...
It's not true, but there's one thing that I can never forget. Really?
So...
the way everyone else looked at me. I was never sad about being left behind. Like I said, I think it was a good
However,
thing. But when the rest of my family looked at me, they saw something different. They only saw me as a little girl that was abandoned by her father. That's how they see me, even to this day. Shadow has been following me my entire life. I'm sick of it. I need him out of my life. I need to step out of my shadow. That's why I have to find him and tell him we're no longer family, to settle the past, in order to remove him from my life forever. I have no doubt he forgot about me years ago. But your family, who just cut him out like...
Wrong.
Our only connection is through blood, nothing more. Connected by heart and soul?
Hey.
Is blood really enough to call someone family? They connected by blood, not by heart or soul. So shocked to her say something like that, I didn't know what to respond. So instead, I said nothing. And then complete silence, and reached to the top.
Indeed.
Look here. On the other side of this door, Hope's Peak is waiting for us.
That's right.
Remember the hatch on the ground near the trash room? Fairly certain that's where we'll come out. I unlocked it earlier, so it should open without much trouble. Well, here goes nothing. I reached my level, pushed against the hatch. And so, looks like we're back. Can't believe how long. At least we're out. I got to now without no things necessary. So let's see.
Listen. So then,
Let's just get a comprehension, huh?
in other words,
That's Monokuma. There's a problem with you. Wait, what's that?
however,
Tried to. It's only a matter of time to find out, and it's not like we can. As she said that, she pointed at the nearby. So you're saying rather than stressing out over it, you probably should give up now? Don't worry. Do you think it's going to happen? Is
because
Because the mastermind is the one that's ensnared. The mastermind is ensnared? You said something like that before. What does it mean?
so
Stood exposed during the investigation into Steph. There was a moment where the mastermind left our guard down. There was?
right.
We can talk to Monokuma. We can confirm it. Still no, shoot. But we don't really have a choice.
Indeed.
Monokuma should be on the team.
Shall we go?
Let's get going.
Shall we go?
Okay. Okay, are we ready for this? So it's night time. So I'll save one more time. So he's in the gym, huh? Wonder why that is. Let's go see.
Well now, well now, well now, well now.
Hey. Kyoko, I don't mind so much.
I don't believe it!
Mikado's supposed to be dead. What is he doing here? That's exactly how I thought he would act. Yeah. He really gonna be okay? You were supposed to be punished. Didn't Kyoko help you? Did Kyoko help you?
What?
So what if I did? What will you do? The guilty party is exposed during the class trial. They alone will be executed. Unfortunate, but that is the rule.
Making me angry!
Time I won't leave anything to chance. Kyoko.
Right.
Do whatever you feel you have to. Right?
However,
But before you do, let me just say one thing.
now, if
You execute Malikara. That means you lose. Not that matters to you, right?
Huh?
I lose?
Hey!
You, explain yourself. What do you mean by that?
because
Well, you set up this latest class trial yourself, right? I was getting in your way, so you wanted an excuse to kill me.
in other words,
I was supposed to be chosen as the black and executed, right? Hey, what are you talking about?
however,
But when Mikado chose to overlook my lie, your plan came crashing down. The result of the trial weren't at all what you were expecting. Because you never imagined that in that position, one person would protect another.
right,
In response to that unexpected development,
indeed,
you reacted by proclaiming Mikado the Black and trying to execute him. You made the choice out of desperation, one more than you. Must have realized that Mikado, who refused to be manipulated, was a threat to you as well.
however,
But then there was another unexpected development waiting for you. An entire entity that would throw a wrench, so to speak, a precious execution machine, all for evil. You never imagined that possibility of being that could come out of our aid, to our aid, even after you.
am I wrong?
And here's the absolute truth. Kato didn't kill Mokuru. You did.
Listen to me.
So executing Mikado for it will surely be a violation of your rules, which I know you love so much. The blackened is exposed, they alone will be executed. That's what you told us, right? And that means I lose? You talk a big game. You're saying the blackened is me and not Mikado?
Well,
And you can prove this, right?
Well,
No, I can't. Just say it like that. What is this? Comedy routine to make sensible things of ours forever?
that doesn't matter.
I don't have any right now, but with a little more time, I guarantee I'll find it.
That's right.
Because no matter how deeply you try to bury it, ever one absolute. And now you're trying to talk like some kind of famous detective, right?
Because
Mikado really was the killer. He never would have come to you either. Would have feared for his life, feared another execution, tried to run him. He would have been gripped by the despair, so you loved to.
however,
Here we are, confronting you. The hope in our hearts.
what the heck?
Am I supposed to be enough to convince me in the absence of evidence?
indeed.
It's not you I'm trying to convince.
Hey,
If you were to execute Mikado now, everyone out there watching this would be extremely displeased. Huh?
indeed.
Imagine what everyone out there would think if you killed Mikado. They assume that you killed him because what we said is exactly that.
Listen to me.
Bear can never kill.
Hey,
First, you can say we're just making this up. You're welcome to prove us wrong. You have no choice but to prove it. kill Mikado without proving your own innocence, accepting your own defeat. Once you are in your despair,
That's what we have to do.
And I suggest you take my advice. So what is this advice?
It's true.
To do Makuro's trial over. And this time, you follow the school regulations and share it.
It's time for one last showdown. One final battle between hope and despair. Hey,
That would make for a proper climax, wouldn't you think? Fair trial, one last showdown. In other words, this would be our chance to expose the true identity of Makuro's killer of the mastermind. But what reason would the mastermind have to accept the challenge? Probably just execute me without another word. Interesting.
Barrett!
Barely interesting indeed. Barely?
What's wrong?
Oh, I was getting bored, so I decided to change things up a little. So time for bear jokes. Now, what you suggested might be plausible, but certainly makes for one honey of a kind.
in other words,
Does that mean you accept?
You guys!
If we do things your way, that'll be enough to convince you and the viewers, right? It would cause you unbearable despair, right? And I'm pretty dared to agree to you. Your hope win out, or will my despair flame?
I can barely contain myself!
Let's have one final grizzly showdown. I agree. Still have a
Barrett!
chance. This is right. Just guessing the killer is barely.
You guys!
You'll have to unearth all the mysteries that have been buried here. All the mysteries. Hold on for a minute, you guys. Hold on. Alright, I'm back. You see, all the mysteries. That's right. Every last mystery that's pawning around this world. If you can do that,
I can barely contain myself!
then that'll be enough to qualify as a victory for you.
It's true.
That's what we've been trying to do all along. Okay, well, good. Then let's bear it all. If you can claw your way to the truth of Makoto's death and solve the mysteries of
You guys!
then you win. You can't. For that, you'll face execution, right? I can barely contain my excitement. When you learn the whole truth, kind of despair rolls through me. We're excited as you are.
Listen to me.
When we uncovered every last truth, how will the ultimate reveal their own despair? Honestly, can't believe how this has all turned out. I want to clarify one more thing. Do you remember the rules? When one student kills another, it's when a class trial is
What's
held.
wrong?
Remember that for sure, so what?
Hey.
Just want to confirm that is what you said, right? And it is a true statement. You don't have to be so suspicious. I've said it before, but it bears repeating. It's based on the school regulations, and having a trial for Makuro is no exception. Huh? Makuro's is no exception, and it's part of the would have mean whoever. It's very polarizing, which I know, but okay, enough puns. Anyway, here's a hint. Sure, I told you this already, but the killing game began with 16 participants, all of them high school students. And the only people to take a single step in since the killing 16 students. Right?
Listen.
You're telling the truth. Why did it go quiet on us?
Now I'm really angry!
I'm done talking. I got nothing left to tell you, so get lost, will you? I seems emotionally unstable. What are you doing, you guys?
Hey!
Leave me alone, get on. No. Shh. Don't play with her. Okay, I'm just... You're going to really let me go? I don't care no more anymore. I'll go get your punishment later anyway. Start getting it ready, a super duper extra special. And overflowing with despair.
Hey.
Come on, Makoto, let's go. Okay. Well, to cling to us as he walked away, and just like that, we're out of the gym. Hardly believe it, but somehow I end up not getting executed and still had my life and had a chance. Overall, things turned out way better than everything I have right now is
However,
don't thank me just yet. But I still have my I wasn't sure. Except my proposal, honest. And they don't stand to gain anything from the final showdown.
so
No choice but to accept. Huh?
because
It's all because of that one woman that the master made.
so
Wasn't there to hear it myself, but do you remember what the master? He said they hijacked the airwaves, broadcast our school life to the outside world, right?
Listen.
What did you think when you heard that? Pretty hard to believe, right? I mean, the idea of actually taking over the airwaves is...
Indeed.
You don't exactly read it. So it's hard to... Right, that kind of thing is extremely...
However...
pull off.
In other words...
Of in another way, there must have been some reason for that to do something like... A reason?
So...
To show the world something, no matter the cost. That's killing it.
It would seem...
The mastermind has been very Those stupid regulations didn't exist. Nobody did that.
In other words...
Ultimate goal was to make us kill each other and show that out to the world. But why?
Correct.
Prove a point, most likely. Prove a point.
Hey.
Outside world has a name for the students. Certain.
That's right.
Right? And for those of us who represent hope to kill each other and sink it to despair, the mastermind world to see that, to try and prove that despair is better than hope. That's their goal as the ultimate despair. What? To prove that despair is better than hope.
It's true.
You're right, it's true. It's only... But is that really their only reason for making the rest of
Makoto.
us? I know how angry it must make you, and yet that same motivation is what led to the mastermind and their weakness. What?
In other words...
Mastermind has had to be more particular than is reasonable about their own reputation. Wouldn't be a game, but it wouldn't.
At the very least... Indeed.
What I'm doing. Junko broke the rules, so she was punished. In my case, they couldn't lay a finger on her.
Right.
So instead, they tried to use the class trial. To get me killed. Began a trial that didn't have a right answer, then made out to be the killer. But even that
It's true.
didn't work. Yes, thanks to you.
Indeed. In other words... However... Wrong.
In the end, though, I couldn't prove any of it.
Whew.
She ran out. No! No! Hold on, everyone. be honest, I haven't been that nervous in a long time. They couldn't tell you were nervous at all. You seem totally confident. Decided to go talk to him. While presenting a strong demeanor, it's a fundamental part of negotiations and persuasions. Plus, if I should, so would I.
However, correct.
Or everything.
Hey,
no, hey. everyone. I'm back. To destroy the mastermind, work
However,
together. Is that really possible?
Anyway, shall we go? However,
Is that Makoto?
You guys!
It is! There's no two ways about it. That's Makoto!
you
Oh,
survived?
she's following you now.
Jeez. You're like a stubborn little cockroach, you know that?
I'm just asking to make sure, but you're not a ghost, right?
Everyone was there. All my friends who had together and survived. As soon as I saw their faces, I couldn't help myself. The two tears.
What?
Wait, what's that?
What the heck?
Yeah, man, that's there. It's Makoto. He smells like a wet dog. Hey, shoo, shoo. My tears dried up.
Yo!
Makoto, what was it like hanging out in the spirit world? I didn't go to the spirit
You know?
world. Did you get to talk to her? Who? Miss Cleo. No, I didn't talk to her. I didn't go to the spirit world. I mean, who the heck is Miss? Still can't believe you survived. Yeah, me either. That's why it is you. It's still. Why is that? Oh, you saved my life.
That's right.
Not too many people can say they had their lives saved by a computer. Imagine it was learning experience for you.
I'm telling you!
Physically, mentally, every way you can be, but... So what have you guys been doing while I was You know that since the trial is over, we have access to new places again. And all the rooms that were locked before were still locked. Many new areas. And where can you clues?
Makoto,
There's no time to indulge in an extended happy reunion.
Yes.
it's true.
I need to tell you about the last
In other words,
Huh?
How about that?
What we doing here? Makoto killed her, right? No. I didn't do it like I keep
wrong.
doing. And of course it's not me or me. And who is
I see.
She's saying it was all the work of the master. You're saying that the mastermind killed Makura?
That's right.
Right. It was all an elaborate trap. Bribed by the mastermind. Makoto spotted the trap.
However,
What did you say?
You spotted the trap, did you, Makoto? You make it sound like it was easy, right?
however,
Skating Makoto wasn't lucky. It was a clear violation of the school regulations. The rules state that only the Blackenders can be executed. The mastermind broke the law.
Huh?
When the mastermind agreed, does that mean they really did break the rules? The TV broadcast became the lever to
correct.
Fully observed.
Naturally.
I recall that you said at the end of the last trial. Now it's the mastermind that's in the stand. That's what you were.
Don't be mean!
Hey, I'm totally in the dark here. You can ask.
About that.
You killed McCall, right? So, every last mystery.
But
I'm looking around all this time and we still don't know anything.
Anyway,
Oh no!
I hate you!
You said you could agree to those terms. Welcome to the rest. And the things the way they were. I'm living here forever with Max. I want to get out of here as soon as
anyway,
Anyway, at this point, the only way for us to...
Interesting.
But
I'm figuring out who the master is and how they killed Makaro and all the schools. It's apparently pretty tough.
I
Can't agree. Why not? I mean, working together.
indeed.
I thought too at first. Very polarizing approach, I know. Okay, enough puns. Anyway, here's a hint. I'm sure I told you this, but
I see. So, in other words,
Mastermind really is the one who killed Mark. Mastermind would have had to set foot in this school, right? Monokuma could probably murder Makuro. There's no way you could have disguised it.
in other words,
Come on. Better.
that's right.
Those 16 people we started out with, anyone still alive on the campus standing right here. Need I continue or do you...
No way!
Indeed.
Possibility. Not one possibility. You can't... Yeah, I mean, the ultimate, right? The ultimate. And say it's not possible. But if what you are, you know about they have to be people on the opinion sometimes. Did you ever see anyone else?
Well... But...
I'm right, right?
This is a school announcement. You've all probably figured this out by now, but at this point, the killing game has now entered true ending mode. So, in the name of fairness, I will unlock every room in the school. Look wherever you want. Solve the mystery in whatever way you see fit. Then we can all meet up at the class trial, okay?
Very imaginative of him to...
That's fine. In the name of my family. Goodbye.
He didn't take me.
Hey,
Do you blame me? If I messed with the rest of you are like coffee with cream without... Totally useless. Hey! Ah! Goodbye. You're gonna...
Indeed.
You know?
I'm gonna go by myself.
Just a second!
Wait, hang on.
How about that?
Wait and see. I'm gonna use my totally awesome.
But... Cause, I mean...
You hadn't been here. I would have asked.
But... Okay.
I figure at least here maybe I can... I'm gonna go off and be all... I'll see you later.
Indeed.
So you're gonna go off on your own too,
However,
right? You misunderstand just because we're going to...
so
It's for all of us.
So then... Correct. Makoto.
Alright. However, dead before class, the victim had been stabbed. He also struck him in the head. We find out who killed him. Alright, I think I'm gonna go to bed. It's late. So you all have a good night. And probably I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, bye-bye.